Hi, I'm Gordon from Camera Labs, and this is my review of the Max Lens Mod, an optional accessory for the GoPro Hero 9 which costs £90 or $100 and promises wider coverage, better stabilization and a 360-degree horizon lock. In this review I'll show you how it compares against the standard Hero 9 lens for vlogging, mountain biking, slow motion, hyperlapses and more to help you decide if it's an upgrade that fits your style of filming. The Max Lens Mod consists of two parts, the hardware of the lens accessory itself and a Max mode in the Hero 9 which adapts the camera's settings to use it properly. It is however possible to try the lens in a normal mode or to enable the Max mode without the lens fitted at all to discover how it's working behind the scenes, and I'll show you more of that in just a moment. The Max Lens Mod accessory itself is essentially a fisheye lens adapter that's supplied in a small case held together with friction. To use the mod, simply twist off the standard lens protector from the Hero 9 and twist on the Max Lens Mod in its place. Note that there's no electrical contacts here, it's purely a physical lens adapter. Be sure it's made a snug fit with the Hero 9 body on all sides though, or you'll see darkening on one side and of course it could always fall off. If it's fitted correctly though, it feels very secure. The Max Lens Mod looks pretty tough and allows waterproofing down to 5 meters, but for transportation in a bag or pocket you may want to use the larger half of the mod case as a lens hood. Meanwhile, you can push the standard lens protector into the shorter half of the case for storage, but sadly the other half won't now stay on, making transportation a little bit awkward without using a rubber band to hold them together. To show what the Lens Mod does by itself without the Max mode running, here's a photo I took with the standard Hero 9. And now with the Max Mod lens fitted, where you can see it delivering a circular fisheye effect. Enabling the Max Mod in the menu though simply crops a rectangular image from the middle, avoiding the distortion, and if you toggle between the standard Hero 9 and the Max Photo mode with the Lens Mod fitted, you'll notice that even after the substantial crop, it's still capturing a slightly wider field of view, albeit of course one with lower resolution due to that big crop on the sensor. Meanwhile, if you like the even broader circular fisheye effect, it's available by simply fitting the Lens Mod and not enabling the Max mode in the menus. Remember, you can always crop it yourself later. Here's the same demo, but this time with video, starting with the standard Hero 9 lens filming 4K in its widest Super View mode with all stabilization disabled for the broadest coverage. And now with the Max Lens Mod fitted, but using the exact same settings without enabling the Max mode in the menus. Notice the fisheye circle from the earlier photo has now been squashed into an oval shape, revealing that the Hero 9 captures a taller frame before then squeezing it into a widescreen video, at least when filming in 4K Super View. But now here's the Max Lens Mod with Max mode enabled, which is how GoPro intends for it to be used, where again it's taking a crop from the full field of view to avoid that circle or oval shape. Now the significant crop made by the Max mode inevitably results in a reduction in resolution, so you lose the chance to film in 5K or even 4K when you've got the Max mode enabled. It only allows a top resolution of 2.7K, at least if you don't want to include the oval shape in the corners of the frame. In fact, it's quite striking how much the options are reduced when the Max mode is enabled in the Hero 9 menus. There's just one video preset with the option to film in 1080 or 2.7K at 24 to 60p depending on region. Yep, no slow motion either, unless you count the 2x slowdown possible with a 60 or 50p clip on a 30 or 25p timeline. To illustrate the potential or limitations for slow motion, here's the standard Hero 9 filming 2.7K at 100p, which allows me to do a 4x slowdown on my 25p timeline. Don't worry about the seagull, he'd nabbed my chips earlier. And now with the Max lens fitted and Max mode enabled, filming again at 2.7K but at the top speed now of 50p, which has allowed me to slow down by only 2x on my timeline. It's a bit of a strange restriction, but again you can always ignore the Max mode and just film in 100p with the Lens Mod fitted and then just crop into the fisheye circle as desired later. Moving on to test the stabilization and horizon lock, I've got 3 sets of tests for you, starting with the vlog filmed here with the standard Hero 9 lens in 4K Super View with maximum hyper smooth and boost enabled. So what you're seeing here is the best possible stabilization when using the standard Hero 9 in 4K. Now for the same mode, but with horizon leveling enabled, which on the standard Hero 9 forces you to film in linear view with much reduced coverage. So it's not as wide, but now has the benefit of a better locked horizon, even if I move the camera around a bit. Next, here's the Hero 9 fitted with the Max Lens Mod and with the Max mode enabled in the menus, and you're seeing maximum hypersmooth stabilization applied, but no horizon leveling just yet. Notice the very wide field of view. And finally, the Hero 9 with the Max Lens Mod in Max mode with Max Hypersmooth and Horizon Leveling. Everything's turned on, where you'll notice the field of view still remains very wide, a key benefit it has over the linear view with the standard Hero 9 when it's applying Horizon Leveling. Okay, how about some side-by-side comparisons? First, with the widest view and best stabilization available, but with no horizon leveling on either clip. On the left, we have the standard Hero 9 in 4K, and on the right, the Hero 9 with the Max Lens Mod in 2.7K. The Max Mod version on the right is a little bit wider, and the stabilization is perhaps improved a bit, but did anyone really complain about the standard Hero 9's coverage or stabilization for this kind of activity? But enable horizon leveling and the difference becomes dramatic. The standard Hero 9 on the left is forced down to much tighter linear coverage if you want horizon leveling, whereas the Max mod can apply max hypersmooth and horizon leveling without any further crop, allowing you to capture a significantly broader field of view. But for casual vlogging like this without any crazy movements, the standard Hero is probably sufficient. Start doing something more dramatic though, and the Max Lens mod begins to make more sense. Here's Ben mountain biking with the standard Hero 9, filming in 4K Super View with maximum stabilization and boost, but no horizon leveling. Notice that the sky is barely visible from his chest mount. And now with the Max Lens Mod filming in 2.7K with the widest coverage and maximum stabilization, but again no horizon leveling. This time the slightly wider coverage has allowed more of the sky and horizon to become visible. Put both clips side by side with the standard Hero 9 lens on the left and the Max Mod on the right, and the benefit of the latter is clearly visible with Ben's chest mount, especially as it was already angled up as much as it would go. Now let's see how the same test looks with horizon leveling enabled, starting with the standard Hero 9, now in 4K linear with leveling, which is the widest it can film in this mode. Given Ben's filming position, the horizon and sky have now been cropped off. And now for the Max Lens Mod filming in 2.7K with horizon leveling where there's no coverage penalty, so you're getting the gimbal-like stabilization with the broadest coverage. Place the two clips side by side and the difference in coverage is obvious, although again, in this particular test you may not see any obvious benefit to horizon leveling over the clips filmed without it, but again the slightly wider coverage even without leveling makes the Max Mod a little more desirable here. Now for a hyperlapse comparison where I filmed the same route 4 times with the camera held out quite casually on a selfie stick, starting with the standard Hero 9 lens in 4K Super View but without leveling. And now the standard Hero 9 in 4K with leveling, which means a tighter linear view. And now for the Max Lens Mod in 2.7K without any leveling. And finally the Max Lens Mod in 2.7K with leveling. Compare the two versions without leveling and you may prefer the slightly wider coverage and stabilization of the Max Mod on the right, but again I didn't really have any complaints with the standard Hero 9 on the left, and I think that's one of the big problems is that the standard Hero 9 is already good enough for most people. Switch to the versions with horizon leveling though, and the Max Mod on the right streaks ahead thanks to its much broader coverage, which I personally think looks much better for this kind of action, although again it is a personal choice. While the slightly wider coverage of the Max Lens Mod over the standard Hero 9 lens is certainly beneficial in some situations, I think it's becoming clear that the major advantage of having this accessory is horizon leveling while maintaining ultra-wide coverage, versus the standard Hero 9, which greatly reduces its coverage when applying horizon leveling. Now horizon leveling in the Max mode also has an additional trick over the standard modes. Once you start recording, it will keep the image upright and level whatever the angle of the camera, even if you then hold it upside down or fully rotate it. GoPro demos this with the camera in the cockpit of an aircraft performing a barrel roll, whereas most of us will simply point it at a mirror while we turn it with a dumbfounded expression. So first, here's a clip with the standard Hero 9 being rotated when set to 4K without horizon leveling, where the entire image is of course turning with the camera as you'd expect. Next, with horizon leveling enabled in 4K, which on the standard Hero 9 means a reduced linear view. Notice how it only keeps the view level until the camera goes beyond about 45 degrees, so if you turn it upside down, the image will of course flip with it. Next for the Hero 9 with the Max Lens Mod, capturing a wide field of view, but watch what happens as I rotate the camera. This time the view remains level throughout, even during a complete 360-degree rotation. It's technically very impressive, but if you're not a pilot doing barrel rolls, does it actually have any practical use? Here's an example for vertical video where I've rotated the Hero 9 and Max Lens by 90 degrees, then started recording, before then rotating the camera back into a horizontal position. You can see this happen with my arm moving from the side to the bottom of the frame. Now this is important because many GoPro mounts, whether you're using a vlogging stick or you've got it mounted on a mountain bike, they hold the camera horizontally, which previously makes capturing vertical video a bit difficult. Now with the Max Lens Mod enabled, the camera will simply maintain the view and orientation at the start of recording regardless of what happens next. I think the best application for this though is for more extreme sports like snow and skateboarding or surfing, where you could have the camera mounted on a pole and simply move it all around you in any position, safe in the knowledge that the view will always be upright and level regardless of the camera's orientation, even upside down or held behind you. It removes the unpredictability and lets you concentrate on your sport rather than the filming or composition. If we're ever allowed to ski or board again, I can't wait to try it out. Before I wrap up though, there's one thing you may be wondering about. What happens if you enable Max Lens Mode in the camera without actually fitting the accessory lens mod itself? The answer is you actually get the exact same software functionality with the same 2.7K resolution limit and the same 360-degree horizon lock, allowing you to rotate the camera to your heart's content without spending a penny, and you're looking at it right now. But here's the rub. Enabling the Max Lens Mode in the Hero 9 applies a big crop in order to support that 360-degree horizon lock, and if you don't have the actual fisheye lens adapter mounted on the front, then you'll be looking at a big reduction in the coverage. That said, the coverage with the Max Mode enabled is almost exactly the same as filming 4K in linear mode with leveling, albeit now limited to 2.7K resolution. So all you Hero 9 owners have the option of fairly good leveling in 4K or ridiculous 360-degree leveling in 2.7K, both with roughly the same coverage. You only need the actual lens mod itself if you want that leveling with ultra-wide coverage. Ultimately, the Max Lens Mod showcases what's possible with digital stabilization and leveling on the Hero series. The software takes a very tight crop from the sensor, forcing it to subsequently run at a maximum video resolution of 2.7K, but giving it sufficient pixels around the edges to deliver not only rock-solid stabilization, but the chance to de-rotate an image as it turns through 360 degrees. Now you'd think this amount of processing would result in footage packed with undesirable artifacts, but it actually looks remarkably good, and the best part is this capability is already built in and available in every Hero 9 as standard, just by enabling the Max Lens Mod in the menus. The downside again to this process though is that very tight crop with a much reduced field of view, which is where the actual Max Lens Mod accessory itself comes in. As a fisheye adapter, it captures an epic field of view, allowing you to end up with coverage that actually works out a little wider than standard super view, even after the 360-degree leveling crop is applied. The only compromise is the maximum 2.7K resolution and maximum 60p frame rate imposed by the size of the crop on the sensor, and I believe the subsequent processing required to stabilize and level it. Since the 360-degree leveling already works on a bare Hero 9, you have to ask yourself how important is having it with ultra-wide coverage. If you can live with something similar to linear coverage, then just enable the mode in the menus and have some fun. But if you want the leveling with ultra-wide coverage, you'll need to buy the Max Lens Mod itself. Now, if you're a vlogger just doing normal pieces to camera, I'd say the standard Hero 9 is already fine. After all, no one complained that the footage isn't already wide or stable enough. If you're finding the Hero 9 isn't quite delivering a wide enough field of view though for your activity, perhaps due to the mounting, then the Max Mod accessory will certainly give you a little extra coverage even when you have the best stabilization enabled, but be warned, it can be a subtle difference. For me though, the real reason to buy the Max Lens Mod is for recording activities where you're moving the camera around a lot and are unable to monitor or correct the result as you film. With the coverage and stabilization of the Max Lens Mod, you'll know you'll always be in the frame and that the footage will be level wherever the camera ends up, and that's very reassuring when you need to concentrate on the action rather than the filming. As such, I'd say it's really an accessory for people who are into more extreme sports. Oh, and if you are tempted by the mod and don't yet have a Hero 9, do also compare it closely against the GoPro Max, which costs roughly the same as a Hero 9 and Max Lens Mod, but allows you to explore the world of 360-degree filming. Right, I hope you found that useful. Big thanks to Ben Harvey for his mountain biking and classy B-roll during this video. Check out our separate Hero 9 review, linked here if you'd like to learn more about that camera. And as always, if you enjoy any of my work, the best way to support me is to subscribe. It's easy and free of charge, so what are you waiting for? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.